What's a headline you hope for your city 10 years in the future? Hey, it's me, 10 years in the future. We at Technically are celebrating 10 years of reporting daily on Baltimore's economic growth, its technology and innovation communities. And so we're asking people in Baltimore and around the country, what is something that you hope 10 years from now will be a story written about your city? 2030 census shows Baltimore City is richer and growing, powered by retention, immigrants, and remote work. To get there, we have to talk, challenge ourselves, and think about equity, innovation, entrepreneurship, and skills of the future. I hope Technically can spend the next 10 years contributing to that.
Hey everybody, I'm Samir Rao. I am Technically's editor based here in Baltimore. I've been with the company since February 2022, although my relationship with it has gone back to my earliest days as a journalist in Philadelphia. And I can't think of a better time to have joined Technically than its 10th year of covering Baltimore. You know, my Technically colleagues have asked me ahead of this panel that we're doing at Baltimore Innovation Week on Monday, what headline I would like to see run in Technically Baltimore in 10 years from now. And I'd have to say something along the lines of Baltimore ranked best city in the US for entrepreneurs of color. We have these really awful endemic issues in this city that unfortunately define our city to a lot of people in the public eye. And so many of those issues, if not the entirety of them, are really just traced back to our legacies of racism and segregation and anti-blackness. And I really want to see this city become not a place where the success of some allows us to pretend that we're doing really well, but a place where the economy, and particularly the tech and startup economy, can really be pioneers for other cities when it comes to creating equitable economic systems for everybody, not just those who want to be in certain industries. I think it's possible. I have faith that it's possible, and I can't wait to, be a part of Baltimore's future and getting there however I can. Thanks to Technically for allowing me to pursue that vision, and I look forward to the next 10 years of this publication covering Baltimore.
Hey, Dante Kirby here, former Report for America Fellow for Technically Baltimore. Just wanted to congratulate them on 10 years of reporting on tech and startups in Charm City. I'm now at the Washington Business Journal, and I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the support of the great editors there, Stephen, Julie, and Samir. And to help celebrate the 10 years, they asked me what Technically headline I would hope to see 10 years from now. And the headline I would like to see is Baltimore High School STEM classes ranked top 10 in the country, which I think is a very real reality thanks to Andrew Coy currently being on the Baltimore City School Board and the possibility of other tech leaders like Ashley Esposito and April Curley being on the school board by the end of this year. And again, thank you Technically for the opportunity, and congrats on 10 years of reporting in Charm City.
It's hard to believe that Technically Baltimore has been around for 10 years. And for people who know me, it's probably even harder to believe that I'm sitting here doing something that a social media manager asked me to do. But I'll make this short and sweet. Lots of you knew me as the first lead reporter at Technically Baltimore way back in 2012. And they've been around for 10 years, and I couldn't be prouder of Chris Wink and the whole team for doing this. Their 10th Baltimore Innovation Week is coming up next week. On the 3rd, actually, I and some of the other reporters who have been there, past and present, will be doing a big event at the Emerging Technology Centers, I think starting at 1:30. You'll be able to find it out. I don't really have anything other to say other than congrats to Technically, congrats to Chris, congrats to Julie, and the rest of all of you down there. It's kind of hard to believe that 3 guys, Sean Blanda, Brian James Kirk, and Chris Wink, decided to start a tech news site more than 10 years ago because they couldn't find jobs in media. So congrats to you all. Looking forward to the 10th Baltimore Innovation Week. And always remember, Never smile if you can nod, never nod if you can wink, and never wink if you can blanda.
Hey everyone, happy Baltimore Innovation Week. This is Stephen Babcock. I served as a technically editor and reporter in Baltimore for 8 years, from 2014 until the end of 2021. Really happy and so proud that Technically has reached 10 years in Baltimore, and the tech community covering everything entrepreneurship, software, and even hardware related here in Baltimore. So for me, Technically was not only where I found a professional home for a long time and, really vaulted my growth as a journalist, as an editor, but I also long have told everyone how great it was to find a home within the startup community in Baltimore, which always welcomed me, and I was so grateful for that. And I'm proud that now I'm still in that, just from a little bit different perspective, working as an editor of a new e-commerce focused digital media publication called The Current. So that's always exciting. thecurrent.media. So Technically asked me to consider a headline that I would love to see 10 years from now. So here we go. A headline I'd love to see is Baltimore has a 6% jump in population. That's right. Baltimore population grows 6% in 10 years. So quickly, here's why 6%, right? So from 2010 to 2020, Baltimore actually had a 6% drop in population, the U.S. Census found. We lost 35,000 residents. That was a decline of 6%. So we know that there's a lot of growth happening in Baltimore. We see new people moving, new companies starting, but that growth is uneven, right? The African American population actually declined at the same time other demographics increased over that decade period. At the same time, nearby cities like DC, Philadelphia, they all gained population. So Baltimore was actually an anomaly on the East Coast. So you might ask, what can we do here to try to work in the 10 years that we have to improve this? Well, there are some policy things we can do, right? As Seema Iyer of the Baltimore Neighborhood Indicators Alliance shared with WYPR around the time of the census report, a big thing that stands out in Baltimore is the mobility, the transportation, the public transit that exists in the city is not up to par with what we see in Philadelphia and DC and those other cities that we're gaining. So we can take steps there. On the business community, we can do a lot of things by nurturing entrepreneurs, and they build the next wave of companies and they attract jobs. We see so many in the tech community doing that every day. That's a big step we can do to grow the population. But there's also something that we can do on a personal level. We can just welcome newcomers, and we can even go out and we can say, hey, you should move to Baltimore. We must not only welcome newcomers, we have to find ways to make it easier for them to get immediately involved in the city's growth, as so many programs do. Venture for America. We see people starting businesses after they come to college, from college to work at startups, right? It's a great example of not only moving here, but immediately being pulled into what the city's doing. And we also have to keep in touch with them long after they arrive here. As Baltimore Homecoming does, we can even keep in touch with them after they leave. Maybe they'll boomerang and come back someday. So everybody can play a role in this. When you meet someone from out of town or who's just finishing college, tell them about Baltimore. And really be honest. I mean, that's what people in Baltimore are like anyway, is that we're honest. So I think this is really important, and it's definitely a growth area and a huge opportunity if you really think about it, to use the language of entrepreneurship. So often when I was a reporter, technically people would come to me and they would ask me, how can I get involved in the city? I'm here, I love the community, I love the place where I work, but what can I do for Baltimore? And, I can think of no better way than reaching out and bringing someone new to Baltimore, adding to that population and that percent by percent growth that we can see over the next 10 years. All right. Hope everyone has a great week. Thanks.